refrigerated, dry, flatbed, regional, dedicated, regional reefer, dedicated reefer. Oh my God, the choices are enormous. How do you choose? Tubiest of the tubiest, the best YouTube subscribers on the planet. That's you. And I'm 50 plus. So you went to school and got your CDL. Then you got on the mentor's truck. You got done with the mentor phase and you did the upgrade process. Now you're done with the upgrade process. You got a truck. After it's gotten cleaned and you've rejected several dirty, nasty ones, you finally got you one you can deal with. You got to get pulling some loads. So what are you going to do? Actually, by this point, you're a little behind the 8 ball. You probably should have known what you wanted to do prior to even going to get your CDL, okay? Generally, what happens is the recruiter will ask you what you want when they are basically recruiting you. You'll have an opportunity to change your mind along the way, even through the mentoring process. However, you want to find out what you want to do long before you get to school. And the reason why is because of that process. They're going to start trying to steer you in a direction where the company has need, or ask you and then they say, well, just answer, and then later on, if you don't like it, you can change. And then you find out later on that, well, they kind of got you stuck in this thing that you chose already, that sort of thing. So you kind of want to know before you show up. All right. It's not hard. It's not hard. You know what your interests are. You know what your physical limitations. Maybe you don't want to, climb on top of a flatbed and chain and tarp and, do all that physical labor. You just want to do, more, as many dropping hooks as you can, Maybe you don't want to touch freight at all. All of these things needs to come into play. You also need to determine how long you want to be out, okay? Do you want to be gone, months on end, or 3-4 weeks at a time? Those things you want to know. Okay. Do you want to drive in the Northeast? Do you want to drive in the Midwest? You want to stay south? All of these things come into play. So now you're going to go to truck driving school. When your recruiter calls you, ask the recruiter, can you fit these parameters? I want to run regional, reefer, home on the weekends, and, the Midwest, or, Northeast, or, Southeast, or whatever, okay? And see if that company can fit those parameters. Keep in mind, just because those routes are available when you first call, and then you decide after you finally get off your bum and get rid of all the excuses while you hadn't gotten started 3-4 months later, then you get going and find out, well, now that I got my CDL and I'm hired on with this company, those runs aren't available anymore. They're already full. Well, probably should have went ahead and jumped on it while the getting was good. But, it is what it is. But you need to determine where you want to drive and what you want to drive before you get to school. So let's say you got all that squared away. You know where you want to go. You know what you want to do. You need to stay on that process throughout the whole thing. Stay in contact with your recruiter and make sure that what they promised you is still available as you're going through the process, even while you're on a mentor's truck. So let's talk about that mentor phase. if you want to do reefer, it would be a positive for you to get on a reefer truck while you're going through your training so that you can learn all of the things you need to learn, while going through the training. Okay. So that sounds, well, of course, duh. Well, duh is not always what's going to happen. That's just a fact, because there's a shortage of mentors. And I don't care which company it is. They're all across. There's always, everybody's short mentors. There's not a lot of people who want to put themselves out there to mentor. That is a fact. And so, you may have to get on whatever truck is the first available, or you'll probably find yourself sitting for quite a long time before you get that reefer mentor that doesn't smoke or does smoke, but, drives in the mountains, and you don't want to drive in the mountains, and blah, 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 blah. The more things you add to the parameters of the mentor you want, the longer you're going to stay home waiting for a mentor. Okay. So the possibilities are, you may get on a truck that's a dry van, and you already got your heart set to be a reefer guy. Okay, so yes, it does make a difference. But if you can get on a mentor's truck that is going to do what you're planning to do once you get off the mentor's truck, absolutely fantastic. Plus, you can kind of fill out their driver leader, kind of what I did. I actually was going to do flatbed. I was going to get off my mentor's truck and go in and drive flatbed. But the company didn't have a huge flatbed division, number one. And number two, my mentor had a hell of a driver leader, and I wanted that driver leader. And, outside of your own personal work habits, a driver leader can absolutely make you successful or break you outside of what you're doing. Okay. So that's the reason I went dry van, but I was going to do, I wanted to do flatbed because that's the only reason why I got into this business. Okay. So it does make a difference. And I know it may sound as if I'm rambling, but actually listen to the content that I'm giving you, because it does come into play. Okay. So you get into it. Let's say you want to do dry van. I would recommend, actually, to anybody outside of flatbed, if you pull in a box, if you can get on a reefer mentor, that's what I would do. If my mentor had been a reefer driver, I probably would have been better. I won't, if he, the same guy, okay, the same mentor, but just pulling reefer, then I would have learned a lot more stuff. You're going to learn the same things you would learn with the dry van, because you're pulling the box trailer, the 3-foot box van, right? It's just got a AC unit in it. That's it. Okay. But what you don't learn in the dry van is if you want to go to reefer, you need to learn how to use that reefer unit. You need to learn how to wash it out and take care of it and all that good stuff. Okay. And you won't learn that in a dry van. However, if you was with a reefer driver and you wanted to go dry van, you already know how to pull a 53-foot box trailer. That's it. And now all of the stuff that you learn on the reefer, you just, put that in storage. Because everything else now is just, drop a hook and they load you up and you're done. Lock the doors and pull on. You see? So if you go with a reefer mentor, you're going to learn quite a bit about the reefer business and everything basically you need to know about dry. Same time. It's where the benefit comes in. But, if you do a flatbed, more likely than not, you're going to end up with a mentor that does dry van and reefer, unless you go into an all flatbed company. Which means once you get done with the mentoring phase, you're going to go through a load securement class, and then you're out on the road and you don't really have that mentor there to help you, secure loads properly and do all that sort of thing. It's a learning curve that's going to take a little bit longer than it would if you'd have been on a mentor's truck that does flatbed. Okay, so as you can see that there are some variables there. It's the reason why I'm kind of giving you a little bit extra information. Ideally, you want to get on the same truck in the division in which you're wanting to drive in. Okay, but outside of those things, the parameters are going to be the same either way. A lot of people say, well, I want to choose reefer because reefer pay more than drive-in. You know what they're looking at? They're looking at cents per mile. I had a guy call me and say, well, I don't know why you with that company that you're with. I got started off at, 43 cents or 45 cents or something ridiculous. And I got started at 47, 48 cents a mile, 37 cents a mile, something like that. And come to find out this guy does flatbed. Well, yes, flatbed pays more. And it pays more because there's a little more work involved, number one. And a lot of those loads are a little bit shorter, too. And there was fewer of them, 3. Okay, so they paid more. At the end of the day, we make the same money, pretty much. So the extra cents per mile. Remember, I've already told you guys several times, if you're chasing cents per mile, you're not very smart. That's just a fact. Okay, I'm not saying take anything for your cent per mile. Okay, you need to go on rate. Okay, but if that's your deciding factor, you don't know trucking. You don't, and you don't know business, and you're probably struggling financially because that's all you see is that cents per mile. Cents per mile is somebody who thinks this far. That's it. You have to consider several other things. Reefer pays more than drive-in. Why does reefer pay more than drive-in? Why don't you go to a Walmart distribution center and find that out? You look at a parking lot they have set up just for them guys to sit there and park and wait. That has a huge bearing on the fact that they get paid more cents per mile. By the way, while they're sitting there, they ain't sitting per miling. They sitting. So, it's a lot of live loads and live unloads with refrigerator. And they get paid for all that. They get paid extra for those stops and things of that nature. So does it has compensations along the way? Yes, but you're going to have to make that decision on whether or not the math is going to work. And for the most part, it comes out a little bit about even in just about every scenario. You did not compile. You don't even have the data to compile, to come up with the cent per mile that these companies are paying for each one of those divisions. You honestly believe that even myself, any other trucker on YouTube has the data, has the computer programming to compile data over the last few years in each division, downtime, fuel cost, miles, all of the data that they need to come up with cent per mile, and then weigh them against each division and in each region and in all the other variables that myself or any other truck driver on YouTube has the technology, or you have the technology to come up with that proper cent per mile. You do not. You have to understand, you don't have the information they have to be able to come up with that information. All you can do is listen to people on YouTube tell you how good this is and how bad that. And there's a lot of variable with that as well. So chasing cents per mile, you don't even have the data that you need to make the ultimate decision because it's impossible. But what you need to do is find out what your end game. What is your end game? Ask most trucker drivers and they're going to say, well, eventually I want to own my own truck. Okay, you want to own your own truck and do what? What do you want to pull? I want to own my own truck and I want to pull, reefer trailers. Okay, well then there you go. That's your answer. So what difference does it make? What cents per mile? You see, at the end of the day, all you're trying to do is get reefer experience. That's it. So you can move on, do your own thing. You're not going to do any good driving flatbed or dry van because they pay higher cent per mile for whatever reason. That is the dumbest thing. You understand what I'm saying? You don't follow it that way. That's not how you make your decision, whether or not you're going to do dedicated, regional, or OTR, refrigerated dry van, a flatbed, car hauler, or whatever it is. In any one of those mixes, What matters is what you're in the business for, and then follow that path, and you're going to do just fine. But don't chase cents per mile. Have a plan and follow it, though, okay? Got any questions, put them down below. I'm trying to make shorter videos, okay? So that's why I'm running through a little bit quicker. But shorter videos is less information. So the only way I can give you what you need is you're going to have to put the comments down there, and I do answer them, okay? Ubiest, I do appreciate you guys. It's only a week or so away from Christmas, so I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas, not holidays. Don't be weak. Don't be weak. If you notice, Christmas is the only supposed holiday that we call it outside of what it really is. Called New Year's, called Easter. You call Halloween. But you can't call Christmas. You got to call it holidays. Holiday tree. Ain't that ridiculous? It's a Christmas tree. That's what it is. And I don't care if you Jewish or if you're Hindu or Muslim or nothing at all. You can still have fun waking up one morning and then underneath this tree that's now inside of your house, decorated with light bulbs and, frosted stuff all over it. We used to have a frosted tree when I was a kid in Houston, Texas. They ain't seen snow, but got a frosted tree in the house. But anyways, the joy and all of that is just well worth putting that frosted tree in your house. Putting all those gifts under there and having a good time. It is a Christmas tree. So don't let none of those haters out there tell you holiday. Okay? I don't care if you're Jewish, then, happy Hanukkah to you. Enjoy that. That little candle thing. I don't know what you call it, but, light them and enjoy life. Okay? Here's your boop. And I'll see you guys again real soon.